What's up, everyone? Mike back here again with you for another episode of One and Done here with Zeke. What's going on, Zeke?
Yo,
For today, we're gonna talk about the history of trophies that have been handed out by Bandai so far in the three-ish years that the game's been around.
yeah,
There's been some interest in the collector group trying to understand what's sort of like the timeline and different uh, prizes that have been given out, and thought it might be fun to kind of discuss it in a video format with you. So we can start first with 2017, which is really easy to remember because in 2017 there was none. The actual first year that Bandai started doing these events for nationals started in 2018, and that's when they started doing pricing support as well with these trophies. So if you're interested in any that came out 2017, the first year of the game, there were none. But moving on to 2018, that was the very first year that
there,
Bandai started doing these,
there was a
and
total of five metal
five,
cards, five metal
right?
cards.
Well, not in terms of total pop, but five different types.
Correct. So, so
And they were all exclusive to the U.S. None of the other regions had these medals, correct?
the golds were exclusive to the U.S. The silvers were not region exclusive.
Okay.
So in terms of population, so in the U.S., top 32, and when I say top 32, it was 32nd through 17th place.
Yep.
So got a silver steel cell.
Not
Uh,
steels, silver.
or
So
Well, yeah, so the silver medal cards
yeah,
sell. 16th through 4th got an SS4 Goku
silver.
silver, and then third place got Pan, second place got Soul Striker Goku, and then first place got Shenron. In terms of,
Those three were golds.
right, yeah, Pan, Soul Striker, Goku, and Shenron, or all one of one gold.
Right.
Uh, and the Cell and SS4, there was a side event that had at the U.S. Nationals that had it was called Gunslinger, where it was a best of one, like a mini regionals. It was but it was best of one instead of best of three. First place got the SS4. Second place got Cell. Fun fact: one of my players locally won the Gunslinger. It was actually so fun fact. Gunslinger in 2018, which was the side event that first got SS4, second got a Cell, was a draw. It was hilarious.
Whoa,
It
that's
was a
pretty cool.
Yeah, so it was a draw, and
And you were
basically
actually there, right, at the 2018
yeah,
events?
yeah. So
Yeah.
so so it was a draw, and it was like a big deal because the organizer was like, "Well, what the hell are we supposed to do?" So they ended up giving they had to go like to tiebreakers and everything, and I think it came down to where player A just got to pick what they wanted. If they wanted Cell or SS4, and he picked Cell, and the player B got the SS4, which is funny because you would think the player A would want the SS4.
Right.
But I think like I just broke it down in terms of population, they're about the same. I mean, yes, technically it's a higher ranking card. It is technically worth more. At the time, I think people were so like fresh to the concept of what it was,
Yeah.
and everything going on that I think.
Would also Cell as a leader was popular that year as well too, right?
Yeah, no, it was really popular. So
Yeah.
and then outside of the U.S., Europe, I want to say France, English Europe, and Asia and Latin America also had nationals, but theirs were different. First place got an SS4, and second and third got a Cell, and that was it. Way, way, way different than what the U.S. got really, really fancy, and the rest of the world got kind of like the scraps. Kind of
Pretty much. Yeah.
yeah, it felt really, really bad.
Were those English copies too? Like did the
Yeah, they were
French
all.
player get an English?
It was all English. They did not language break. But
Okay.
yeah, but then something interesting happened. We had year 2 Nats. So we saw no metal cards from Nats to Nats, nothing in between, which I think is something at the time I thought was like, oh, it's cool, they're unique to nationals, but we'll learn that that's not the case anymore. So year 2 2019 nationals, we have 7 nationals around the world, which I thought was crazy. Like, that's a huge jump. And people are like, well, oh, we had 5 last year. Well, the difference was everybody was on the same boat this time. So there was 5 English Nats around the world, 1 French, and 1 Italian. Where the medal card in French is in France for the France nationals was in French, and the one in Italy was Italian.
Right. The other ones were all in English.
Correct. So 5 of them were in English. One set were in French. One set was in Italian. So there was 7. There was a total of 7 nationals, and the silver cards were different. Or the medal cards were different from last year. This time they did not do a top 32. Instead, they did a top 16. So the population of medal cards was reduced in terms of per event, but everybody got the same kind of prize support. So 16th through 4th got a silver Zamasu and Goku Black leader card.
Right.
And
yeah.
then
That's how many copies? Well, wasn't it actually? I thought all winners got the silver, even the top 3.
No, not that I'm aware of. No.
So if you think about like from 4 to 16, that's around 12-ish copies, and you've got 5 regions in English. You're looking at approximately around 60 Zamasus in existence in English. We assume English for the purpose of what we are interested in, since English is king for collectors. But yeah, so we're looking at around 60 compared to 2018. You know, even if you factor in the few that were handed out to other regions, I don't think it came close to 60, right? Like, there's no way there's 60 cells out there or 60 SS
no. I think
out there. So definitely more this year for that one.
Yeah, I think for Goku, I think it was a total of 19 SS4s and like 24, 22 cells. I think that's what it came down to.
Yeah. So definitely a lot more Zamasus than the previous silver versions of prizes.
Out of all the current medal cards in existence, I would value the Zamasu the least. Just in terms of sheer population, because that's just 60 in English.
Exactly.
We have 60 in English, and then we have 12 in French, and or is it 12? No, it's 13. We have 13. Oh wow, it's even more. So 5 times 13, that's 65. So we have 65 in English, and then we have 13 in French, and then 13 in Italian. So making it a grand total of 26 plus 65. Math. 91 Zamasus in the world. So.
Yeah, it's a lot. And then for the gold prizes, Bandai did something a little bit different for last year's Nats. They actually let the winners choose which one they wanted, which, you know, obviously threw off the official designation that they've previously had for these golds, because rather than Bandai saying, here's the one you get, here's the one you get, here's the one you get, it's, well, you won, congratulations, you picked the one you want. And so we had something unique where every region had a different order of selected golds, right? Like, I remember for US, the first place winner chose Broly as the gold that he wanted, whereas the one in, like, say Europe, he chose the Vegeta. So there was no official designation for the golds for last year's Nats.
Didn't Asia pick Vegeta, or was it Latin America that picked Vegeta? So
I'm a little bit iffy on those. I think Asia was also Broly, but I know for sure that Europe was Vegeta.
Yeah.
And so you basically had like a difference in rank. Another thing that was kind of interesting about last year's Nats, which was different than 2018's, actually a few factors. One other thing was that they actually awarded stamped cards in addition to the golds for the top 3. And those stamped cards actually did have an official designation because they actually had the place on the stamp. So in terms of the ordering for the stamps, that was, you know, the traditional, you know, you get this one, you get this one, you get this one. But the medals were up to the players to choose. And so the characters they went with, first place was the Vegito stamp, second place was the Broly stamp, and then the third place was the Vegeta stamp. And so you had golds of those as well, but without any stamps on it, because you obviously wouldn't know ahead of time what the player would want to win and choose. So those were the characters that they chose for the top 3. And then just like you said, for the languages, for English, 5 regions were in English, so you have five regions having the English golds as well, plus the English stamps as well. So if you think about the math there, you're talking about for each gold, 5 copies in existence of it. So a little bit more than the first year where it was like 1 of 1 golds, but it's still definitely pretty rare, right? Because like 5 copies
Oh
of
yeah.
say the
Oh
Broly
yeah.
or
No.
5 copies of the Vegito. Um, but if you look at it as like total per
It's
character, it's like 10 per, right? Because you have 5 golds and then the 5 cardboard variants. So you have 10 total of that card art, but 5 in each type of the card.
right. So if you count, if we're doing just English, there is a total of 15 English gold medals for 2019 and
Yep.
15 cardboard stamped.
Yep.
And then if you count all of the regions, which was your France and Italy, you have a total of 21 golds and 21 stamped, and you have 7 of each one. So it's kind of weird that English is valued so much higher, yet there's more of them. But English is king in any card game: Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, Magic. English
Pretty
is always
much, yeah, yeah.
English is king. So I think it's really cool that there's 5 Broly's, 5 Vegetos, and
Yeah, I mean,
5.
if you really wanted to take it to the extreme, as a collector, go after like the French, stamps or the French Broly or the French golds, basically, because those are the ones that are actually going to be the most unique one of one, since it's only one copy of it in that language. But those are, I'd say, like the really, really niche collectors because majority want English.
Yeah.
So
No, there's that. And then something interesting happened. After Nats, they ran
actually, there's one thing we forgot to mention. So there's also the draft Vegeta that was
That's
given
right.
out
Yeah,
for Nats last year.
that's right. So instead of having Gunslinger, which was a best of one mini regionals, they decided to do a draft tournament.
Yeah.
And the draft tournament, they ran 2 or was it 2 or 4? I think it was 4 in each region. But there's a discrepancy because I've heard from certain regions that only 2 Vegetas were handed out because it's supposed
I
to be
was
a
about to
draft.
say the regions that I was familiar with were only 2, but I don't know about the U.S. But I have heard, like, for example, Oceania had like 2 of them. Same with
Yeah,
Asia.
yeah, and then I heard the U.S. had 4.
Okay.
So there's a discrepancy.
Yeah.
I wonder if I could find and double check, but yeah. So basically, the Vegeta, there was a silver Vegeta that was given out for a draft side event at Nats at each region. So there's definitely, I know there's 2 of each for sure. So there's clearly there's 10 silver Vegetas, but I want to say that there was um that there
Well, if there's, I would say 10 at the very least, assuming 2 per region, right? But
right
there
there's
could potentially be more, maybe 12 if U.S. had 4, right?
yeah. So
Do
looking
you
at
know
it,
if France and Italy had also their own specific language for the Vegeta, or if those
they
were in
they did
English?
they did
Okay.
have their own specific.
Okay. So for English only, it's either 10 or 12, probably.
Yeah, no, there is not that many. I'm actually double checking right now. Okay, I found it. I am just scrolling down. So the Vegeta card. Let's just see for it. So, all right. There's 2 ways to win. Oh, okay. So there's 10. So this is so the way it was is there's 2 ways to win. You can play draft events and in the side events and just gather points, and then if you get enough points, you could use it to get the medal card. And then there was a big side event that was a big win it all Dragon Ball draft that you could win it. So there was 2 ways to get it. So there was two per region. So there was a total of 10.
All
There's
right,
10
there you
Vegeta.
go. So there's 10 of those. All right, so fast forwarding to after Nats.
There was 2 really unique things that happened. Europe, a little bit of insight. Europe has gotten a little bit of like the shaft, and it comes to like product supply and support, which is unfortunate. So Bandai dedicated with one of the tournament organizers there. They dedicated 2 unique events where they got their own exclusive medal cards. One of them being Super Baby 2. It was a silver card, and top 8 at that event got them. And as far as I'm aware, only English Europe got them, so there's only 8 copies of it.
Yep, that's what I've heard too.
And then there was this weird multi-European large event. It was almost like a sub nationals. It was really interesting. I don't know what they called it.
It's called the European Invitationals.
Oh, that's right. Yes, yes, you are correct. And first place got 3 medal cards, but it was unique. They got an SS4 Goku, a different SS4 than the one from 2018, but they got it was a different leader card, and they got 3, one in English, one in French, and one in Italian on this unique placard that could hold all 3, and it was really interesting. It was something definitely different.
Yeah, I think part of it was because it was a European Invitational, and obviously Italy and France are included in it. Bandai really couldn't predict who'd win the game, right? So you'd want to make something that could satisfy whoever the winner was. So they were like, okay, well, since we have some players that are going to compete from Italy, some players compete from France, some players compete from other countries in Europe, why not make it, 3 variants, so that way whoever the winner is can enjoy it no matter what. So they're like, okay, we'll have 1 gold and we'll make 3 versions of it, in English, a French, and Italian, all the same card, just a different language version, and have that be first place. And whoever gets top 8 gets the silver baby. And so that was kind of the mindset, which is funny because then you would think, okay, if you're going to think like that, why wouldn't you make the babies in 3 languages too? Because what if someone wins top 8 but doesn't care about the English, but they decided for the silver to just have them be English. So you had some of the winners win that weren't really English speakers, but were like, okay, here's your English silver. But for the gold, they definitely did something unique. Yeah, totally unique. That was like, okay, first place gets 3 golds instead of the usual 1 gold, and it's just the same card in different languages. So that's definitely something cool. And then obviously with this year, it's going to be pretty exciting, right? Because we got Worlds for the first time, so
Yeah,
nobody really knows yet what Bandai's going to do, but
yeah,
definitely excited.
yeah, I know. There's a huge it's cool because we're still gonna have 7 nationals around the world,
Right.
and I think they're still figuring out the details, but I've heard that it's top 4 from each region get to go to Worlds, but nothing's been clarified. But it's kind of cool that that's gonna be just in general, the fact that they're gonna do a world is huge.
Yeah.
One of the things that I think is really cool about Dragon Ball is that it takes a little bit from from the big 3. It takes different ideas, but one of the coolest things that it feels a lot like Pokemon with the Pikas, how you have year 1, year 2 Nats, and then year 3 of the game's existence. Oh, let's start doing worlds, and it's like, wow, it's just really cool.
Totally
So
agree. Yeah, they've continued to innovate on the trophy side of prizing so much. I mean, they're taking cards and giving them medal variants as prizes, which Pokemon doesn't do. No one really does. So I think it's really exciting, and they're always changing things. Like 2018 was just 1 of 1 golds. 2019 was, hey, you get to pick which gold you want. So it's really exciting to see what they decide to do for 2020. If they're going to keep trying new ideas, or copy from existing ones that they did in previous years. Who knows? Are they going to continue doing the stamps like they did last year? Is that something that they only did last year they're not going to do anymore? I mean, there's so many possibilities with how they're going to do Worlds. It's just, yeah, it's really exciting. Should be fun times, and see what Bandai does. All right, well, that's pretty much it for our little trip down history lane with trophies in Dragon Ball. Thanks for sharing everything, Zeke. Hope you guys all enjoyed this, and we'll talk to you next time.
have a good one, guys.